Imagine if you wanted to be able to go through a search browser, a browser that has search, and just search through things based on keywords. That'd be great. Kind of like a Google searcher at your fingertips, a professional Google searcher in your fingertips. In order to do that, the MCP server that will help you with that is called Brave Browser. Brave Search. So it's from the Brave Browser official team. So you can go to click on Brave Search, and you will need to do a couple of things. There's a couple ways. There's NPX, or you can use Docker for usage with Cloud Desktop. This is a similar configuration for qCLI. So one thing you can do is you will have to download Docker if you're going to want to use this one, or you're going to have to download NPX if you're going to want to use this one. You can ask Q, download NPX for me, or download Docker for me in the Q session, and it'll do it. So you have, you just have to tell it which one you want. I'm going to go with the NPX because I already have NPX, so I'll go with NPX. So I already have this outside part of that code, MCP servers, right? I'll just copy the Brave Search one. Now this one's tricky. This curly brace is for this curly brace. I want to go all the way to the closing curly brace for this open curly brace, which would be one more right here. Cool. So make sure it's like this. Copy. It really won't work at all if you have any syntax errors here. Like this is unacceptable. Boom, boom. It needs to be in the same level. The name of the MCP server, if I toggle it like this, toggle it closed, should show, and the value should be an object. Like object meaning opening curly brace and closing curly brace that has some information in key value pairs. So yeah, make sure you have no syntax errors. You're gonna need a comma after the closing curly brace of fetch, for example. And now this one is interesting because in order to use this one, you actually need to sign up for their API key. Sign up for their website in some way. It's free, and you can sign up this way. In order to get the Brave API key, you gotta look at the documentation. Matter of fact, let's see if I can just copy this and Fetch can just get information about it. Can you access let's see. Unless robots.txt is in the way. Robots.txt. So Fetch's kryptonite is robots.txt files on a website that are preventing it from seeing it. But I'll show you how to get around that, especially for GitHub and Reddit, because they have their own MCPs. Wonderful. Cool. So yeah, that was it. And don't worry about usage with VS Code. Don't get confused by that. You're going to want to use the Claude configuration file. That's the most similar to Q. Okay, so we're going to need to get the Brave API key. It should tell us where to get the Brave API key. Here you go. Brave Search API API account. I click it, and then get the free one, and then see all free plans, get started. And once you get started, you're gonna have to go in there, and I would like to show you how to do it myself, just so it kind of eliminates some guesswork about the setup, because this is pretty important. You wouldn't be able to use it without this part. So let's go ahead and do it. Oh, cool. Enter code here to proceed. Okay, let me just put this in a different window because this is I guess this is live, so it doesn't matter. But let's just go ahead and, for security reasons, I'm going to do this. It's sending me email with some code for verification. I'm checking my email, and I'm going to go ahead and type in the code in the page that I have hidden from you. 58. Well, I'm not supposed to say it out loud. Anyways, you're still gonna have to guess a bunch of other numbers though. What's up? All right, so I'm in here. I am back in here. Okay, so once I'm logged in, what you can do is go to API keys, and I'm happy that it's covering a lot of this. I was hoping it would cover all of them. I don't even know why it has to show these for, but you click Add API Key, and then name, and then you give it some name like whatever you want, and make sure you have Free AI selected. That means you'll be able to use it through things like Cloud Code, QCLI, etc. And you can name it whatever. I'm literally naming it whatever, but you can name it whatever else. Cool. So then you're gonna need this token. You're gonna copy that, and you'll need to tell it about it. But there's one thing with security. You do not want your LLM to, because your LLM is gonna read from this file, right? But you don't want your file to directly have that API key here. That would be bad. So you're gonna want it to be able to read from you want this file to get that information and store it in a variable, which from an environment variable, okay? So from your local computer's environment variable, so that that information isn't written as text in a file that any MCP, any LLM that you're using, you don't want them to access that, because what if those get leaked? Now you have sensitive information related to your account, right? Anyways, luckily this is a free one, but still, there's other riskier ones that are not free that will, you don't want that to happen. So we're gonna need to go into a file. In your Mac, it's gonna be the .zshrc file. So let me open up another window on my terminal here. I'll click on my terminal and then shell, new tab. Okay. I don't want to show you my environment variable file, but I'll create an example environment variable file. But yours is going to be called, on Mac, it's .zshrc. So if you do code, I have VS Code CLI, by the way, so I can do code, but you can always do cat, means to see, to read the contents right here, of user home /.zshrc. This would be showing you all the environment variables you have that are related to probably sensitive data, for example. That's one use case. I'm not going to show that, though, because I don't want this video to have that. But I'll show you an example of what it would look like. I would prefer you open this up in VS Code. So, in VS Code, you can install the code extension so that you can do code and then squiggly line /.zshrc. Boom. And then you'd open up in the text editor and it would work. Okay. Yeah. So let's go ahead and not do that so you don't see all my secret API keys, but I'll create one called, I'm going to do touch.zshrc example. And then I'll do code.zshrc. This one doesn't have anything, so I'll just have that open up. Okay, so in this file, your file will probably have something with like Amazon Q lines here, and you're going to want, so it's going to probably look something like this. So your file probably going to look something like this. And then it's going to have a closing Amazon Q block. Like this. I'm pretty sure yours is going to come with this already in your .zshrc file, without the word example. And then you would put the environment variables needed for your MCP servers. In this case, Brave API key. I'll just copy this whole name, Brave API key. I'll paste it here after typing export, and then that variable name that I just copied equals to, and then I will post in this API key. I'll copy it and I'll paste it here inside of a string. Okay, so you paste here, and once you have pasted it, now it will be able to log in as you because I was logged in, and it'll be able to access this API with this limit for your free tier. So because it knows who you are or what access level you have. Cool. So it'll make up to 2,000 requests per month. That's pretty cool. 2,000 search requests per month on free tier. All right. And by the way, you could always create another API key here, if you run out of this. But yeah, I think they also have a limit on how many API keys you can create per month. So overall, per API key, there's certain limits, and per account, certain number of API keys. So this is how it would look like, but with your API key here. And then mine is in a separate file called .zshrc, right? That's where mine's pulling it from. And then here you'll need to tell it which variable to get that information from. And in our case, we had that variable called also Brave API key. So I'll just paste that here because that's the variable that we named it in that .zshrc file.